Ahem. Ruby. What? I look at the view counts. I realize that if it's not Pony that keeps me going, it's Ruby. Which makes me wonder what would happen if I ever did a Red versus Blue fanfic. Well, in any case, hello and welcome back, everybody, to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Because if I didn't do a Ruby fix soon, I think I would have missed out on my Ruby quota. So, without further ado, please stay by as we here at the Dirty Berry Memorial Library and proudly to present a mightily Hair Brained Schneeme. Enjoy. Damn, this is gonna be great! Yang Xiaolong punched into the fist of one palm of her hand. The buxom blonde grinned broadly at the other three members of Team Ruby.
You've been saying that ever since they announced the brackets for this round of tournament,
Ruby Rose pointed out. Come on, sis. How could I not be excited to take on Pyrrah? Every morning at breakfast, there she be, staring back at a friendly crowd of my cereal box. It's like getting a chance to fight against your favorite cartoon character, only in real life. How cool is that?
Who thinks about that kind of thing?
Now, who was it who used to run around with a toy sword, pretending she was taking on Moloch the Seven Fang?
I was 6 years old!
Ruby yelped, glancing aside the other two members of the team, and trying to figure out just how many mature examples of leadership points she just lost. Except she was suddenly reminded of a different kind of point she might have lost altogether.
Sorry, Blank. I guess this show was kind of racist, now that I think about it.
There's a difference between having a fondest villain and saying that the fondest are villains, Ruby. Blake bowed down and smiled, said gently. Sounds like this, it really hit Ruby that she was 2 years younger than everyone else in the first-year class at Beacon Academy. Blake gave her a smile and added, I liked that so when I was 6, too.
So, we've gone through the moral lesson of the week,
The fourth team member turned in testily.
Can we get back to the fight that's going to happen 3 minutes from now?
There's not much point in having a strategy session if we're going to spend it on childhood memories. Wife Snee was not known for mincing her words.
Right, strategy. I heard somewhere she had bad heels, so you could sweep her legs?
Ruby tried. Yang laughed. Look, what's the plan? I don't fight by waving around a giant piece of ferrous metal, so I don't have to worry about her semblance screwing with my moves. And that gun of hers is next to useless close up, so pretty much we get in there, go sword and shield against my fist, and see what it takes, right? Wise looked back and forth between Yang and Ruby.
I have no idea how anyone could have ever thought one of you was adopted.
Be nice, Blake said gently, and honestly. By now, Yang knows Pyrrah and what she could do well enough. It's just a matter of carrying out the strategy. You tell him, partner. Yang gave Blake a thumbs up. On the other hand, it would be hard to do that with your hair in your eyes. Blake took a quick step until she was standing right in front of Yang, close enough that she had to face the highlights in the blonde's eyes. Here. Blake pressed a straight back of Yang's bangs and pinned them off her partner's forehead, with a hair clip shaped like a black cat's face.
Thanks, Blake,
Yang said, sounding taken aback. Maybe it was because she was so used to being Ruby's big sister, that being taken care of by someone else took her off guard. You're welcome. Besides, a black cat's a little bit obvious for me to wear myself, isn't it?
Definitely. I think it's cute.
Meanwhile, Team Universe attempts to help Pyrrah and Nikos help prepare for the fight were going much more smoothly than Team Ruby's. Mostly. By some measures. It didn't have lights, so there was less yelling.
And then, Nora Valkyrie told the others, and there you're completely off track of where he was going at this point, so you had to completely backtrack.
I didn't know you liked to read, Nora, Pyrrha said, genuinely surprised. Also because she didn't understand how Nora could sit still long enough to do her homework, let alone read for pleasure. But she never said that out loud. It might have hurt Nora's feelings, which Pyrrha generally didn't want to do. She was weird like that.
Ren always gets mad if I try to wake him up before 5,
The perky brunette replied with a shrug.
So I gained my revenge by reading all his books while late, then putting them back out of order.
It's horrible. I suffer so. Lyran commented flatly. In his best, I'm happy for Nora Sell for that. Please don't inspire her to greater creativity. Voice.
You poor boy.
Pyrrha consoled him.
Do you have a plan for this, Pyrrah?
Darnark tried to stay more or less on point. John was Pyrrha's partner as well, as Team Juniper's leader. He wasn't really much of a fighter, but he was learning. He did care about his friends, and would put his neck on the line for them. Heck, Pyrrha had once seen John fling himself between a giant Ursa and an enemy, which she found really impressive. Plus, there was light brown hair tussle as he just got out of bed, his soulful blue eyes, and the cute way he pretended to be confident as he was utterly clueless. And let's just say it was an impressive act of willpower that Pyrrha could talk to John and actually have a coherent conversation.
Yep, she's totally gone on him,
Nara said.
What?
I think they're still talking about books, John said. Don't get distracted. You know how dangerous Yang is in a fight.
I know. Ruby is faster and better at dealing with monsters, and White's disclosure makes her a considerably more versatile combatant. But in one-on-one combat, Yang is probably Team Ruby's best fighter. Quite possibly she could be superior to me.
Hey, don't say that. She may be good, but I never looked at her face while eating marshmallow flakes. It's kind of weird because he'd be natural for that because he's got them. Never mind that. He quickly cut himself off. Like he's not before, he was learning. Anyway, what I want to say is, he got back on track. We still have to give our soldiers a reassuring squeeze. I believe in you, Pyrrha. Just do your best, and we'll all be here cheering for you. Pyrrha wondered if it was possible to fight well while grinning like an idiot.
This is why the Brussels sprouts almost got red. If it hadn't been there to drown them with honey.
Obviously it is. Thank you, Nora. In the final round match of the Beacon Academy first year individual combat tournament, Professor Osborne announced, we present from Team Juniper, Pyrrha and Nikos. He gestured with his coffee cup to the stage left. Pyrrha stepped up into the area, set up for battle. The Amazonian redhead's expression was serious and focused. She didn't even seem to notice the cheers from her substantial fan club. And her opponent, from Team Ruby, Yang Xiaolong. Yang got on the stage with a whoop, pumping a fist in the air. Unlike Pyrrha, she waved to the crowd, whose cheers involved a lot more hooting and whistling. Yang's fans tend to be a little more over the top in their approval, even sticking her pinky fingers in the air to her lips and returning the wolf whistles. The smile didn't go away, even as Ember Silica extended and locked into place over her fists and forearms as he slid seamlessly into a guard position. Remember, the rules are effective in previous rounds will continue to apply. Combat will continue until one party yields, or until one fire's aura reaches a critical state within the red levels, unless our instructors will intervene to end the match. Disobeying an instructor's order will return an immediate disqualification. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Got it! Then begin. And began it did. The two girls launched themselves at one another, Pyrrha with her shield thrust out before her, and Yang in extended fists. That seemed to give Pyrrha the edge in a moment of collision, but right in that instant her knuckles hit metal. Yang fired one of Ember Silica's cells. The blast equalized the force, so they were both jolted back. Pyrrha's shield arm being knocked up and away, while Yang's arm seemed to mirror hers. Neither girl was slowed by the initial clash, though, with Yang's foot whipping up in a kick, while Pyrrha thrust Milo at Yang's side. Yang's left hand dropped to strike the spear shaft, and fight the blow away, but twisting in the motion of Pyrrha's body pivoted her hip away from the kick, virtually taking all impact out of it. It went on like that for 40 seconds. Furious strikes and blocks, explosives flashing from Ember Silica when Yang scored a blow, but neither one was able to land a direct hit. They separated for a moment, springing aside and pivoting, then launching themselves at one another again. A thunderous fury of punches, kicks, and shield bashes, and sword strikes, spear thrusts, sweeps with the sound of Milo's spear mode ensued. Crying cheers and cries of surprise from the crowd. It was incredible to watch for anyone, but the Beacon students themselves were highly talented combat trainees who could actually follow the action and realize just how impressive it was that one part did not come back into Pyrrha's skull, or how one sword slash had left Yang's left leg flopping onto the floor, or her right arm. Boo! Poo!
Whoa! John marveled. Seeing the rapid-fire exchange, he knew Pyrrha was good. Her Turing was the primary reason he himself had advanced from class clown status to there might be something there, but this was something else entirely. She is impressive, Ren agreed. Sometimes you can only see a person's true ability when he faces a challenge worthy of that talent. Nara grinned at her childhood friend.
That's my Ren. Doesn't talk much, but when it does, it's usually something deep.
In the ring, Yang seemed to overextend herself on a punch, letting Pierre grab her forearm with her shield hand and hook Yang's leg behind the knee. Even as he was being whipped to the ground, though, Yang's arm actually caught Pierre around to the head and pulled, shifting their weight, bulldogging her red head so they would both hit the floor. They let go, and as one rolled away and flipped back onto their feet before launching themselves at another again. Whoa, John repeated. Pierre locked eyes on her opponent as they clashed once more, Yang turning aside her sword, defying a punch at her jaw with both the locked hands, which Pyrrha was barely able to bob her head out of the way from. She brought up her shield and shoved it with both arms, sending Yang staggering back. The witch mutiled to spear form and fired it, using the cartridge itself to give it an extra burst of speed. It nailed her dead center, stopped only by Yang's aura, but the redhead wasn't hesitating for a second, whipping Akuto back at Yang like a discus, hitting her in the upper chest and sending her staggering back. So she hadn't had a chance to talk it over with John before the fight. She actually did have a strategy. Thanks to the two teams' friendship, Pierre had a very good idea of Yang's character. Specifically, Yang liked fighting. To a certain extent, any huntress or huntsman did. After all, they took guards to guard civilization from monsters. They didn't shirk from a fight, honed their skills, and took pride in their abilities. Yang, though, took it to another level. She let the rest of adrenaline from physical activity. Combat was probably the best of all. The challenge, the risk, the thrill of exerting herself to the utmost, and emerging triumphant. Pyrrha wasn't, she hoped, too full of herself, but she knew she was the strongest one of her first-year class. Yang would be eager to fight her, not just a casual spar, but a real bout with something at stake. She wanted to savor it, get everything out of it that she could. With that, she wanted to make it go as long as possible. A fight that ended in 2 seconds wasn't fun. Yang would want to test her skills, match blow for blow with Pyrrha, feel the bronze warrior's strength, see what herself could do. Wasn't feeling out for her opponent taking her measure, but genuine enjoyment of every moment of the duel. Knowing that, Pyrrha had been willing to give Yang exactly what she wanted, right to the point she could get some serious and greatest effect. Even as Yang went humbling back, Pyrrha was already exploding towards her, her magnetic semblance letting her snatch Akuto out of the air, holding it back to her hand after impact. She swung below a horizontal slash, nailing Yang across the waist and hurling her a good 10 feet. Springing, she swung down a massive two-handed overhand blow that would, she was sure, have ended. Maybe it would have, had it landed. But the exploding punch Yang whipped up into Pyrrha's exposed midsection as sure as it didn't. The follow to her face sent Pyrrha flying back. When she struggled back to her feet, she saw Yang watching her eyes that glowed red, hair shining like it was literally made of golden flames. Her smile was bigger than ever. She's better than I thought, Yang thought. This is great! Of course, Pyrrha had nearly sucked her there. But hey, this was a combat tournament, not tiddlywinks. It was really a shame that this was going to have to finish now. But all good things come to an end, eh? It just didn't. That last combination had put a nice dent in Pyrrha's aura, she was sure. When Yang shot forward to put a period to this fight, she found herself greeted by a combination of blocks and counters that made certain the tall girl never had to take any of Yang's hits full force. Yang found herself readjusting some of her own assumptions as a quick combination put her on the defensive. Karen struck back, but the pressure was almost too much. She gave particularly vicious shots in the mouth, and a shield bastard split her lip, even while landing an uppercut with Ember Silica that rocked Pyrrha off her feet. Wiping the blood with her thumb, Yang chuckled. Then Pyrrha swung her weapon around rifle form and fired from her back.
Keep working the legs, Yang!
Ruby shouted, encouragement at her big sister.
She can't attack full out without solid stance!
Oof! Bryce grunted as Ruby's arm banged into hers.
Ruby, I almost dropped my scroll. Well, don't take your meal while the fight's on. You should be cheering for Yang. Ah! Yang! What's up for a gun? I'm not taking mail. I'm talking Yang's aura. It's almost in the red now. Lines, they're setting screens displaying both their aura statuses. See, Pierce is almost as bad off. Yang's constant use of her semblance is draining her now, though, Blake pointed out. Makes her faster and stronger. But she can't use the last something decisive. It might end up vulnerable. They can't fall start to look at Weiss. A cloud of smoke burst just in front of Yang as Pyrrah got to her feet. The blonde had been surprised by the sudden shot, but still had some presence to counter with a blast from her own weapon. Pyrrah didn't hold back, holding a kudo for the clearing smoke. She heard a soft smack of it hitting something, but nothing more. While she tried to pull back, she was met with her more than usual resistance carrying her polarity. Smoke cleared then, revealing Yang holding a kudo in her hand. Somehow, she sensed it coming at her and caught it. The kitty-faced hair deck she had been wearing wasn't in place, though. Pyrrha noticed a moment later on the floor next to Yang's foot. It was easy to spot, since the lock of bright golden hair beside it really stood out. Yang wasn't smiling anymore. I think this big, round knife, she ground out clenched between her teeth, belongs to you, so take it back! In all fairness, Pyrrha did try to use her semblance to push the shield away. She tried to block the incoming missile. She even tried to dodge. That was quite a lot of trying. The only thing she succeeded in doing was getting blown clear off the stage to crash land in the middle of the rest of her team, not to spiraling to the floor. The winner! Yang Xiaolong! Pyrrha! Pyrrha, are you alright? Vaguely she recognized John's voice. Likewise, the lap of her head was close to glaring on, was in fact John's lap. It did make for a nice, snuggly pillow. I still do love it when my ship shows up in a fic. I really do. See, suppose this was what they referred to as a consolation prize. Yes, yes I am, she murmured, before letting her eyes drift shut battling the nap. Distantly, she felt her lips curve into a smile for the first time in the match. Well, a lot went off without hits, I summed up. Smug was really the only way to describe her voice. I'm not sure I agree with that, Blake said, shaking her head. But it did. The blade in the hair triggered the remote signal I sent, just like we built it. One snip, one bit of hair failing past Yang's eyes, and one very fierce fight. What could be perfect? For one thing, we could have let the fight end honestly. Weiss rolls her eyes. And whose idea was this, anyway? Yours. Excuse me? I remember you saying it's too bad that Yang's hair wouldn't be sure to be cut during the fight, then she'd be certain to win. It was you who put the hair clip on her. I'm having second thoughts, that's all. My conscience is bothering me a little. Conscience, listen, Blake. I'm the heiress of an international conglomerate whose ruthless and unethical business practices have made them the butt of every cliché the newsmongers could think of. While you're a former ninja terrorist for a radical supremacy group. People like us don't have consciousness. We keep the people like Ruby around us to do that. And we're using our stinkiness and lack of scruples to be loyal and helpful teammates. I say that ought to more than satisfy any facetious of conscience you may think you have. Blake gave up and chuckled. It's hard to find words to argue with that. Was it exactly as it should be? No, the only thing that you and I need to worry about is getting caught. I couldn't agree more. Ah! The two girls squeaked it, all the while jumping out of their boots. Professor Osborne kindly sipped from his mug, while Weiss and Blake stared at him. Blake was especially amazed that he could have come up behind them quickly. Given her exceptional hearing, the way that the whole thing about being an ex-ninja terrorist when masqueraded as a human had honed her awareness of her surroundings to the point near paranoia. I believe this belongs to you. He held out a haircut to Blake. Quite ingenious, really. If you're not getting a top score in your microelectronics class, then I'll have to review your grading standards. She couldn't quite meet his gaze as he took the clip back. And as for you, Miss Schneeme, may I suggest that next time you carry out some plan that involves electronic communication, that you choose a method that doesn't apply to school's network. It makes things somewhat conspicuous. Next time? Osmond smiled. I've been teaching school for as long as you've been alive, Miss Schneeme. Experience tells me that there's always a next time. Learning from your mistakes is part of your education. Then, in that case, there'd be no point in punishing us, would there? Since it is a learning experience.
Osmond sipped from his mug. You have a good point. He paused, just long enough for her to start hoping. It's also a point of your education that you learn crossing boundaries can have consequences. And of course, there's also a complicated question of recompensating Miss Nikos, who was the victim of your plot. Like you, I cannot simply reverse the results of the match, as Miss Long was merely your dupe, and does not deserve to suffer. He said again, one idea would be for two of you to withdraw from the tournament. This would permit me to advance the two best third round performances among the losers to the missing spots, which would definitely include Miss Nikos, while costing the two of you the opportunity of success for your own.
But, Osmond, we did earn our victories fairly.
Well, there is that. But if you like, I do have a second idea for your punishment.
What's that?
Blake asked warily. Good instincts, that one, Osmond thought. I'll simply explain to Miss Long everything that had happened and how it was done, and leave it like that. Why said Blake shared a look that carried considerably more fear than he faced the giant Nevermore in the Emerald Forest.
We'll both let's withdraw for the tournament, sir, Weiss answered. For health reasons, Blake contributed.
Excellent. I'll make the announcement then, and we'll see no more of this. Though I am pleased to see students showing clear tactical thinking under pressure. Osmond lifted his mug to his lips again, only to find it empty. He glared down at his nemesis, and the two girls went scampering off, unless his apparent wrath fell on them after all. Sighing, he set out for the cafeteria and a refill. The wheels of education did not turn smoothly when not well lubricated with caffeine.
This was a fun, silly little side trip. Nothing too big, nothing too major.
And considering all the things that have been happening yesterday in the main stuff, and it's going to be happening in the Ludiverse, and back with Power Rangers, I think we were due for a nice, quick, short fic. And don't worry, I promise, I'm not going to April Fool's you guys again, and I won't trick you. You will be seeing Ludiverse tomorrow, not Starfleet. I promise.